Comme elle me prend dans ses bras, elle me parle à tout bas. Je vois la vie en rose.
Welcome to Bioshock Infinite, the complete story. So where were we? Oh yeah, Burial at Sea. Again guys, we'll be covering the overall plot for this DLC, so you can understand what's going on. Anyway, let's get to it. The story begins with Booker DeWitt in his office, but something isn't right. He's in a different universe, a different story. He's a different Booker. He's in Rapture. In this universe, the Rapture Civil War hasn't happened yet, and the Booker we know becomes a detective. But it's not that simple. Remember, in Bioshock Infinite, there are multiple timeline possibilities, multiple Columbias, multiple Bookers, and multiple Comstocks. The purpose of the drowning of Booker at the end of Bioshock Infinite is to get rid of all the possible Comstocks in the proper timelines. But what if a Comstock was out of the normal timeline? What if something so horrendous happened that Comstock just couldn't deal with it and had to escape his life? Let's go back to that moment that Comstock kidnapped Anna DeWitt. What if Booker fought just a little harder? In this timeline, it wasn't Anna's pinky that gets cut off by the portal, it was her head. That's right, the young Anna DeWitt was decapitated by Comstock trying to kidnap her. Racked with guilt, he had to get away from everything and had the Ludices bring him to a place where no one would know him and he could completely start over. He never made Columbia, he never raised Elizabeth, and he never dealt with anything that happened in the original game. This Comstock made his mistake and escaped. He was brought to Rapture, where he shaved his beard and went by Booker DeWitt again. The trauma of traveling through the Ludices Tear Gate also wiped his memories. Now for Elizabeth, she wants to remove all Comstocks from the multiverse of Bioshock, and one escaping and being apparently unaffected isn't acceptable. The first Burial at Sea game opens up with Elizabeth hiring this Comstock to help her find a young missing girl. Elizabeth doesn't give Comstock much to work on, except that the girl's name is Sally. She went missing and Sander Cohen has information most likely. They explore through a pre-destroyed Rapture, and after dealing with Sander Cohen and his insane urge for performance art, they find themselves unconscious and being carried in the bathysphere to the recently sunk Fontaine's department store. They look around this destroyed portion of Rapture until they finally find Sally. But poor Sally isn't really Sally anymore. She's one of the many little sisters changed by Andrew Ryan's Big Daddy program. Once they corner Sally in a vent, Elizabeth reveals to Comstock the truth. Jogging his memory, Elizabeth explains to him exactly what happened, how he decapitated a version of Anna DeWitt and fled his life as Comstock to avoid coping with everything. This Comstock is clueless about all of this and had no idea about the multiverse. He apologizes to Elizabeth, but she doesn't care, and tells him he'll be sorry. At that moment, a Big Daddy impales Comstock, killing him. But the story doesn't end with him. After killing Comstock, the same Big Daddy killed this multiverse version of Elizabeth, stranding Sally at the bottom of Rapture by herself. But remember, Elizabeth is now all-powerful. She's able to see all the doors, all the universes, all the what-ifs and the possibilities. And another version of her, who's relaxing in an alternate version of Paris, sees what the other version of her did. She needs to make amends for herself, or she'll be filled with the guilt of leaving Sally to die at the bottom of the ocean, and be no better than Comstock in the end. She has the Ludices bring her to that Rapture, that time, and that universe. But that's not how her powers work. She knows everything all of her versions do, but if a version of her dies in a universe, she isn't supposed to ever go back there. She's dead in that universe, and that can't be fixed. With that being said, once she goes back to Rapture, in a universe where she's dead, she's no longer all-powerful. She can't see the doors, she can't see the what-ifs, she can't see all of her versions. This Elizabeth is now all alone, with no crazy rift-tearing powers. This is it. She's one person, and a normal person finally. She only has her knowledge from her books and whatever she remembers from seeing into the future, before everything was close to her. Once in a sunken Rapture, she awakes to the voice of Booker in her head, helping her cope with everything, and a rather angry Atlas about to have her killed. Atlas wants Sally for the atom that is inside of her. But Elizabeth quickly says that she was Sushong's assistant and can help him get back to the main Rapture if she can have Sally. She goes through the sunken parts of Rapture and learns some rather interesting facts on her journey to get something for Atlas. What she learns is that there is a reason for Rapture and Columbia to be so similar. Sushong and Fink were working together through a tear machine. Columbia and Rapture were directly connected, and they did their research together. Rapture and Columbia shared the plasmids and vigors, and they both created the Vita chamber to allow people to never really die. She manages to get a Lutece particle from Columbia, which is how the city floats, and bring it back to the sunken piece of Rapture, back up to the rest of Rapture. But Atlas isn't done with her. He now believes that there's something about her, and she's more valuable to him than Sally. So he overdoses her with Truth Serum, asking where the ace in the hole is. He is owed his ace in the hole. Of course, Elizabeth has no idea what he's talking about, and eventually passes out from her overdosing. When she awakens, Atlas threatens Sally unless Elizabeth reveals the location of the ace in the hole. In one of her memories of a potential future, she remembers it is in Sushong's lab. Atlas agrees to spare Sally if Elizabeth can get it. She goes through the labs and helps a Big Daddy who wouldn't imprint on the little sisters do so. And when Sushong arrives in his lab and hits one of the sisters, he is impaled by the Big Daddy. Elizabeth unknowingly caused Sushong's death, but she did manage to get a piece of paper that was marked as the ace in the hole. When she returns to Atlas, she already knows what he's going to do. He takes the paper and demands to know what it says as he strikes Elizabeth. It is then that she remembers one last memory from all of these universes she once viewed. The phrase on the paper is "Would you kindly?", Jack's activation phrase from Bioshock 1. With that, Atlas shoots her and states he will honor their deal, and leaves her alone with Sally. As she lays there, dying to her wound, Sally sings her a soft song to help her deal with it. At that moment, Elizabeth can see the doors again. She can see the entire multiverse and sees that Sally is rescued by Jack in one of the multiverses. Knowing that Sally will be saved and get her happy ending, Elizabeth dies to her wound happy with her ending. What does this mean for the Bioshock universe? Let's break it all down. Rapture and Columbia work together to share technology through the multiverse tear device. The events of Bioshock Infinite happen. Once Comstock escapes the mass clearing and Elizabeth chases him, Elizabeth kills him and gives Jack's activation code to Atlas. Atlas activates Jack, who comes to Rapture, and Bioshock 1 happens. Then Bioshock 2 happens, and the timeline ends. That's everything, and just when you thought it couldn't get any more confusing. What did you think of this DLC? Was it needed? Did it help you get any closure on the entire series? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time here at Eligible Monster.